most senior move managers are super important to this discussion and to this industry. And we want to make sure that we always spotlight them. So we don't have time to do a panel this week this month with a group of senior move managers, but I wanted to briefly introduce one and also have her on hand in case there are some sort of topics today that might be benefited with the with a move manager. So we've got Adele Logan, Galen or Galan. How do you like to pronounce
Galen.
it? Galen. All right. So Adele, you're a move manager, a senior move manager. So tell us, what does a senior move manager do?
Well, we do a variety of things. Whether the senior is planning on aging or thriving in place or moving, we can help. We help them declutter and downsize. We can put together a system for them that's sustainable so that when we leave, their apartment or house doesn't go back to the way it was, so that they can handle their mail and their clutter in an organized fashion. If the client is moving, then our responsibilities expand tenfold. Generally, a senior will move to a smaller home in a retirement community. So you are looking at someone who's maybe lived in a 4-bedroom house for 50 years and is now going to a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. So consequently, they may feel overwhelmed. They don't know what to take, what not to take. So what senior move managers do is we go through the process with them. We talk about, okay, what are your favorite pieces of furniture? Can you fit this in your new place? We have them realize they can repurpose furniture. For example, if they have 2 nightstands, but only have room for 1, maybe their dresser can work as a nightstand. We can help them pack, interview movers. One of the funnest parts for me is helping them settle into their new home. I try to make their new residence mimic their old residence as much as possible, so that when they walk in, it's not a bad shock. On the day of the move, most senior move managers will make the bed in the new place, put together the kitchen and the bathroom. I typically bring flowers and some type of treat. I hang out with them a bit afterwards. And then the next day, I go and help them unpack, put up the pictures, and try to make it less scary, because moving is always stressful, but particularly for senior citizens, it can be overwhelming. So I not only work with them in reducing the clutter, reducing the furniture, but you also in a way hold their hand throughout the entire process.
I love it. Yeah, and you know, the trade association, the National Trade Association, the National Association of Senior, what used to be called Senior Move Managers is now Senior and Specialty Move Managers. And I think one of the reasons that the association made that transition is that there's a lot of people on this call right now that have gone through a move that are sort of like, you don't need to be an older adult to enjoy the benefits of having a move manager. And I know that's part of the branding that National is doing. And we're excited for that, because again, anytime we can remove the stigma of aging from a product or a service, it automatically becomes more appealing to everybody. So
that's absolutely right, Steve. I actually went through NASMM's front door training program to become a senior move manager. But several of my clients now are just busy families. You know, the parents don't have time to clear out the garage or their shed, or they need someone to come in and take a fresh look. So I think training for dealing with seniors is really training for dealing with everyone.
Yep. Well, Adele, I definitely would love to have you come back on with one of our panels, but I'm really glad that we were able to introduce your profession to our audience. But I know we got a lot to dive into with Lisa. But before we say goodbye to you, just share with everybody what your organization is and what region you serve. And then if you don't mind, drop your contact into chat, and then we will, Tom, we'll get started with Lisa here.
Yes, thank you, Steve. My company is called Smooth Move Managers, and I deal mostly in Northern Virginia, but I have been persuaded to go to DC. And I really love what I do. It's a great profession, and I've met some really nice people. All
right. Well, thanks a lot, Adele, and I hope you stay on hand for other move manager questions. But let's dive in. What do you think, Tom? Dive in and let's hear what Lisa has to say. Lisa, I'm just amazed at the fan base that you have. It's I know there's a lot of Lisa fans on this call. One of which is my wife, who happens to be a part of your network. And I'm going to make sure that I share our first conversation with Lisa last month on how we can keep our desks and our offices more organized. But there were so many questions related to paperwork with older adults and older clients. So let's dive in to the conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me back. I'm super excited to be here. I definitely shared it with my audience as well, because, you know, paper is one of those things that you can avoid, and you can not deal with it until you have to. And when you have to deal with it, it's an issue. Like, it's an emergency situation. It's costing you time and money. It's costing you more time and money the less paperwork that you have. And also a lot of, in the medical situation, unnecessary tests or delays in getting answers. In a financial or an estate issue, it could be not getting your banks reconciled correctly, or not finding the right monies that you need, or not having access to money when you need to have access to it. And I know senior move managers are amazing. Like, as you guys were talking, I was like, just pay them all the money. Like, you think you're going to do it yourself. You think you're going to save a couple hours. You're going to save a couple pennies. You're going to get a migraine. You're going to need more Epsom salt baths, and you're going to need to hire a masseuse. So just pay the senior move managers. They know what they're doing. They will save you so much time and so much money in making these transitions as easy as possible. When we are dealing with baby boomers and older, this is your paper-based society. These are your generations that have paper from all the way back to when they were children. And everyone needs to have paper. They understand the importance of paper. They just have so much paper that you can't find the important papers. I am a Gen Xer, so I have paper also, and I've pared mine down to just what I need. And then my kids are millennials and zennials, and they're now learning that they need a binder worth of paper to function as an American. So we have different levels of paper. Understanding why paper is important, what paper you need to keep, and when you need paper is kind of what I wanted to cover here today, if that works for you.
That works. You know, Lisa, you're such a good presenter. What I'm wondering, we've already got a bunch of questions that have come in. Do you mind kind of just sharing your thoughts on some of those questions since they came in so early, and then you can use that as a springboard for discussion?
Yeah, let me give you just like 3 big paper ideas.
Okay,
so
cool.
Kind of bucket things, and then we'll get to the detailed answers. That way everybody will have a better framework.
I love it.
First of all, you're dealing with people who have paper. And you have to think about how you feel about paper personally for yourself. I was raised in the 90s, went to college in the 90s, started my family in the 2000s. And I heard the message over and over and over again, these two messages. Number one, touch paper once. You should only touch paper once and you should never touch it again. And the second thing that I heard and I internalized was, we're going to be paperless. So digitize everything because we're not going to have paper. And for about 20 years, my brain exploded while I tried to only touch a piece of paper once so I didn't have to touch it again, or digitize it so I wouldn't have it at all. And what I've realized is you're going to touch paper over and over again. So just get over it. And you don't need all the paper you have, but 15% of it you do need. The second, now that we know we need paper, the second thing I want to really talk about is ditch the filing cabinet. Like, I have tried so many different ways to organize filing cabinets for my professional organization clients and myself, and it's just not organizable. Like, it's outdated as soon as you're done doing the filing cabinet. So I want you to ditch that entire idea. You're working with the aging population who are moving out of their house. They're moving into different living environments all of the time. They're going to doctors. They're going to lawyers. They're going to sell their house. They need to have everything in portable binders, and you only need 3. And by the time they get to where they don't own their house, they only need 2. So these are the 2 that all adults in America need. They need a medical binder. This has all of your medical records and your medical information to get quicker access. And then you need a financial binder. This is everything to be power of attorney and settle your estate eventually. This is all of your retirement money, your insurances, your birth certificate, your cars, your household inventory is all in there. And the third binder that most people need, but you will opt out of this binder as you age, is a household reference binder. And this is the one that you need when you're selling your house and everyone wants to know everything about your house. When it was last painted, how old the windows are, what's the color of the carpet, all of those things are in your household reference binder. The other reason why I want you to ditch the filing cabinet and think only about binders is because binders are containers. And so you have financial records, medical records, and household records. And all of your papers will fit into those 3 categories when you're over the age of 65, unless it's a memory, then you could do that somewhere else. So if you could take your whole entire filing cabinet and put it in only 3 binders, like, that is very freeing. And it's also a constraint to limit you. Now you can have 2 financial binders if you need to, but I only have 1. And we have a lot of things that we're managing in our financial binders. The other reason why I want you to do binders and not a filing cabinet is because they are portable. Not only will they move from one house to the next house, but if you live in California or Florida or Texas and you need to evacuate for a hurricane, evacuate for a fire, you grab these couple of binders, you get in the car, you have all of your important documentation. If you need to go to the doctor, you take the medical binder. If you need to go to the lawyer, you take these binders are portable with you. You almost never need the important papers in your house. Like, that's where you keep them, but you need them when you're with other people. So let's just organize them in a place that is portable. So we need paper. We're going to touch it more than once. We're not going to put it in a filing cabinet. We're going to put it in those binders. That's where I want to start with you. The easiest way to get my information the fastest is I have this book called The Paper Solution. It literally tells you, like, you can buy these binders from me and they come with all this information, but I tell you in this $18 book how to make all of these binders and more, and to handle your daily actionable paper, like, step by step. I do not save anything for when you buy my products. I share it all in the book as well.
Great. I love it. And we'll share your links and everything with the audience, as well as the recording of this. Okay. Mm-hmm. So great overviews, and probably radically different than the way a lot of us in the audience are managing our paperwork. But more importantly, if you've got an older loved one or a client whose house you're coming into, they probably don't have the nice little container like you have right there. It's probably all over the place. Tom, I think we've got a couple of questions. You want to jump in on those?
I was, but I only see 3 right now, Steve. Am I missing something?
Oh yeah, no. There's the best way to keep paper. That one.
I don't have that one.
Oh, okay. Here. Let me.
There it is. The best way to keep paper files organized if your parents use online or any digital format for accounts, leases, bank documents. How many years back should you keep these?
Okay, so when you're making this financial binder, which if you don't make any of the other binders, almost everyone will make a financial binder, or if you don't make a financial binder, whoever settles your estate will have to, because this is all the documentation they're going to need. So the binder is going to be comprised of 3 elements. One is physical paper that you will find in a filing cabinet. And this person is saying there's literally no digital. It's all paper. How much do I keep? So the IRS rule is you keep the last 7 years of anything you wrote off on your tax return. So everything beyond 7 years, you can get rid of. I will say, do not get rid of anything medical at all until the person has passed away, because there's always information you can glean from that. And medical records are only kept digitally by your provider for 7 years. That's all they're legally required to keep. So if you have anything of that, keep that. So anything that's beyond 7 years, you can get rid of. Now, if you still live in your house, you don't get rid of like your deed or things like that. All of these questions are answered inside of the paper solution. And I'm always going to defer you to your accountant or your real estate agent or your lawyer, because I'm none of those things. Like, I'm just like a stay-at-home mom that wrote a book. So don't do any of that legal stuff for me. When you're making your binder, you're going to find what's in the filing cabinet. But in this case, you don't have digital information. But if you are creating this for someone who also has online, you're going to need to pull things off of the internet. You're going to need to pull off account numbers and what's the name of the lawyer and what is their address and what is their phone number. So you're going to need to find some stuff online. And the third piece, when you create all 3 of these binders, it's super, super important that we just don't even think about, is what you actually have in your head. Like, you know, your health history, it's not written down anywhere. You know, when you replace things, you may not still have the receipt for that. So going through either the book or the binders that we have and going through the workbook and then jogging your memory and writing those things down, that's a lot of what you're going to do with your clients as well, kind of interviewing them and getting that information out of them, as well as organizing the paper and anything they have stored on their computer.
Great. Let's see. I'm gonna read a question that came in before this discussion from Alex, and the question is, how long should I keep Medicare explanation of benefit payments? I'm being overrun with paper. Help, thanks. And Lisa, share your thoughts. But I also emailed this to John Norse, who's a Medicare expert, and I'll read his response after you share your thoughts on that.
I think we should read John's first. So I'll tell you what I've done personally, but I think we should listen to John.
Here, let me do that.
John.
John's, okay, so John North says, providers have 1 year from the date of service to submit claims. So a good rule of thumb is to keep all EOBs for 12 months from service. Also, if you are original Medicare, A and B, as your primary payer of claims, you can set up a mymedicare.gov account and see claims in real time. Should you opt out of email, you would get paper summaries every 3 months. My recommendation to all clients is to establish a mymedicare.gov account and avoid paper, as Lisa has just said. And he's got 2 links here, which I'm going to drop into chat. But you know, Lisa, John's response and your sort of opening remark is, it speaks to the pressure that we're all under, where we feel like everything has to be digital, you know. But I'm curious on your thoughts on what John was saying, and then your thoughts on how do you deal with this pressure of just feeling like everything, I got to get rid of all the paperwork.
Yes. Okay. So my kids have medical needs. And there was a 5-year period of time where 50% of our take-home pay went to medical expenses. And we have like the Cadillac of healthcare plans. Like, we have an amazing healthcare plan. And I felt like I had a part-time job just matching up the insurance to the EOBs, to the hospital network and all of that stuff. And I did. Like, I spent at least 10 hours a week just doing this. So I think number one, I want to just give you the acknowledgement that it's a lot of time. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of money. So just accept that, like not accept it like, oh, I just have to do this, but like really hear me say, you have a part-time job advocating for the payment and getting the benefits that you have for the healthcare to save you money in the end. what I will tell in my personal experience is I would save the hospital or the doctor appointments, and I would literally, and I did everything in paper, and I still do. It's just easier for me to process it that way. I would staple the EOB to that when I knew that the insurance had paid what they had paid. And then I would staple the receipt when I had paid what my part was. And when all three of those were paid, I actually kept them. And I'll tell you why I kept them in a minute. I kept them, but I moved them out of my active pile. And there was a period where I kept going back and forth between the hospital and our insurer and said, this is covered. And they said it's not. We kept going back and forth and back and forth. Turns out you have, with private insurance, you have 18 months from the time of the billing. And this could have changed because this was like 10 years ago, in order to get insurance to pay that claim. Otherwise, you had to pay it. And it was like 17 months in when I finally got insurance to pay that claim. And I saved myself like $5,000. So it was worth the amount of time that I did to continually have it redone. So don't not do it, because you'll end up paying the money if insurance does it. Now, I kept those over on the side. Remember I said that? So there is an IRS tax deduction for out-of-pocket medical expenses. And I can't remember if it's 7 or 10%. And I can't remember if it's your adjusted or your gross income, but one of those. We were at 50% of our income, so we qualified no matter how you do it. But let's say it's 10% of your adjusted income and you make $100,000. So after taxes, you have $75,000 and it's 10%. Any medical expenses above $7,500 that you pay out of pocket is a tax deduction. So because we were paying 50% of our take-home pay in medical expenses, a lot of them were tax deductions. So I saved that paperwork by year for 7 years, because if I ever got audited and then they went back 3 years and they went back 7 years, I would have had to produce all of that because I took it as a tax return. I took it as a deduction on my tax return. So see how there's always different answers to this. So for me, if I were, and this is what I thought he was going to say, I would say opt into where they mail you the paper statement every 3 months. That's totally what I would opt into. It would land on my desk and I would go through with a highlighter and I'd be like, paid, not paid, whatever. And I would see what was left in black and white. And it'd be much easier for me to actually manage it. I'd also have the online thing, but I would want the every 3 month summary. And then if you are above that 10% threshold for whatever reason, and when you see the IRS guidelines of what is considered a medical expense, like Band-Aids, aspirin, all of these things add up to that 10%. If you've got someone that has any kind of a medical condition whatsoever, you can easily trigger that 10% and then start at least not paying tax on that money.
Right. Tom, got a good question there. You want to?
Yep. The taxes for 3 years. Saving taxes for 3 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, the Tom, you want to pick up that question from Karen McKinney?
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions on organizing the paperwork? If you're a senior who is self-employed, I would need more binders, file cabinets for clients, as well as the others.
Yeah, so we're talking about your personal household and your personal self today. In the other interview that Steve and I did last month, we talked about organizing as a self-employed person, and we actually have another system for that. So yeah, we do have a system for that.
And I'm gonna drop that discussion into chat. I'll also make sure that when we send out the recording of this one, that I include the recording of that one. But you know, one of the interesting things, Lisa, that you shared on that discussion, because a lot of it was more of a workplace focus. And what you were saying is that a lot of people start using this, like a lot of CEOs and workers start using this personally in their home.
Yes.
And then they begin to transition it into their workplace. And I think for Karen, that's another good way to sort of use Lisa's system, is start out with just your personal records, and then you're going to begin to understand the system and you can apply it to your business as well. Because correct me if I'm wrong, she would need there's sort of separation of church and state. You've got your personal stuff and then you've got your clients and things like that somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think it's, everybody always says work-life balance is a myth. Work-life balance doesn't exist. Like, true, correct. I 100% agree with you. However, especially as a female, like I have thought about my house like 10 times already since I've been at work. And when I was at home last night, I thought about what I was doing today at work 10 times. Like, I think about home and work all the time. I'm just always thinking about home and work. I actually, right before we got on here, I made a little note to myself of something I have to do when I get home. Like, our minds have thoughts of work and home. This is how we organize your kitchen countertop paper at home. We also have a system that does the same thing, that organizes all of your ideas and your goals for work. And so the systems work together. The kitchen countertop one is in here. The work box is coming in a book in the future.
Great. Whoops, I got stuck pasting the previous discussion in there. So what are some of the challenges that you find to people sort of transitioning towards their old way of doing things to sort of this new place? I mean, I think it's great. It sounds so simple and easy, but and because this has been done in my house, this is a leading question. It's sort of like, how do you offer support to people that are saying, yeah, I want to try to do something like this?
I think, like, I started out by saying, you're not going to touch paper once, and we're not going to be paperless. And the reason I started by that, because we almost make it harder than it needs to be, because we've never gotten a handle on this. So there's no way it could be this simple. Like, at least if it was this simple, somebody else would have told us to do it this way a long time ago. There's no way that you figured out that it is simpler than everyone else has been making it. Like, there has to be more to this. So as a professional organizer and teaching people how to organize, I have learned that there are 3 phases to organization. There's the decluttering, which leads to organizing, which leads to increased productivity. Another way to look at this is, you have like spaces that are not organized, you clear them out and you get them organized, and then you digitize them, or you create your productivity, or you decorate them. So decluttering, everybody knows how to declutter. That's when you go through and get rid of your mismatched socks. That's when you clean out your closet. That's when you go through your filing cabinet and go, oh my gosh, why did I even ever put this in here? Like, why would I ever need that? 85% of your filing cabinet, you'll be like, what was I thinking? And you're just gonna be like taking stuff out like crazy, going, I can't believe there's anything in here I could possibly even need. That step takes a while. It's very physical. It's very, it makes you feel great when you do it. And you see a big result when you're done decluttering. Then you're left with what you want to keep. And when you're left with what you want to keep and you do organizing is always done in analog. It's always done in analog. So what I mean is, like, even when I was organizing someone's business, I had her print out all of her emails. She had like 3,000. She's like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, nope, print them all out. She printed them all out. We put them in multiple binders divided by, the company was losing lots and lots of clients. So we color coded the binders. Clients who were good to go, clients who had already left, clients who were thinking of leaving, clients who had put in their 30 days, like in rainbow order. She walked into her boss's office with these binders and explained what they were. And he gave her 2 new employees starting on Monday, and they triaged everything. And within 90 days, they saved 60% of those clients, because he wouldn't give her more help in her department until he saw the weight of the projects and the physical ramifications. Organization, being able to take your thoughts and do a brain dump list. If you've ever done that, just write down all of the things that are in your mind that you have to do. When you see it, it is so overwhelming. But then you realize why you're so stressed. It's because you've been holding all of this in your head. So the organization has to happen in analog. Now, increasing productivity, that is totally your personal preference. For most baby boomers and older who did not have a corporate job, it will be a physical filing cabinet and binder, because they never really got into Excel and all of those kinds of things. They are comfortable with paper. For people Gen X and younger, it just depends. I mean, I've been a stay-at-home mom forever. I own my own corporation and I have employees and all of that, but I'm still a paper person. I'm going to default to an analog paper. I'm going to make a cute binder, but I'm going to have a binder because that's just how I am. Other people are going to be like, great, I got the 3 binders. I'm going to scan these and digitize them and password lock them and send them to the family members so they have them that way. I forget the password. So that's why I'm not going to do it that way. It's the organizing of the information that is the analog step. How you store it and retrieve it, that's personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa, Karen's, I think, interested in looking to see what the inside is. Is it pockets? Is it page dividers? What?
Yeah, so they all have 5 sections, and then it comes with a workbook. I have it in these sheet protectors just to be able to flip through it and show it. But it is both kind of like a workbook that you would fill in, and also some instruction that goes with all of them. And each one comes with a different packet inside, anywhere from 24 to 48 sheets that really guides you through everything you would need. This medical one was set up to be the power of a healthcare or a caregiver for anyone, so to take care of someone's physical person. This one is set up to be the power of attorney or settle an estate based on IRS, and we worked with a estate lawyer to create this one. And then the household operations binder was we worked with a real estate person to figure out what are the things that a new homeowner would need from your house.
That's great. Now,
real quick, Steve, we're a huge proponent of using the binder here at JK. We have 2 warehouses here in Maryland, and at any time, State Department or the military can stop by and see that we're doing our annual inspections, biannuals. What are we doing when? And we put all that in a binder, and we have it right there. And when the inspector comes in, boom, it's right there. It's very easy. So you can use those binders for multiple items, but great idea, and they work perfect. Really do.
Yeah, and so Karen follows up and she says, so are your binders for sale? And I think folks might have not caught this, but the cool thing about your system is you can buy these things from you, and they're already sort of packaged and just ready to go. But you give people guidance on if they wanted to go to Staples, get their own binder and do the tabs and sort of do it yourself with your system.
Yeah, so in the book, The Paper Solution, for $18, I tell you exactly how to set these up if you want to just buy one book and set them all up yourself. We do sell the binders. They're $75 each. They're 2-inch D-ring deluxe. I'm obsessive about my binders, and they have everything you need in them. What I found when I was Power of Healthcare and Power of Attorney was I Googled like crazy for help. Like, I don't know if you know this, but when your mother-in-law falls and breaks her hip, like no one comes over and takes your kids and makes you meals and does your work for you. They just add on the caregiving responsibility to your already overflowing plate. Like when your father passes away and you have to travel home and clear out the house and sell the house and plan the funeral, like no one made income for me so that I didn't have to do my job. And every person is going to experience this sometime in their life. And so if I can create like these 2 binders, they're like $75 each. And like, if your mother-in-law breaks her hip, like literally in a couple of days, you've got this binder and you know the questions to ask and where to put everything. It saves so much time, and it gives so much peace of mind, which is why we sell the binder. But you could totally do it on your own if you want, or you can even start to Google it. There aren't good resources when you Google, just FYI.
No, that's great. Now, I'd love to sort of transition this because, these discussions are all about a lot of times moving and downsizing.
Yep.
And so, a typical situation that many of our audience may be dealing with is somebody who's spent, several weeks in the hospital.
Yep.
Now they're being discharged to a nursing center or assisted living or what have you. And the family comes in and it's just kind of like this crazy paperwork plus mess with mounting legal bills and medical bills that are coming in. I get how your platform is fantastic for kind of long-term planning, but any words of wisdom for that crisis situation where you got to really scramble and make things happen?
Yes. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I love senior move managers, and all professional organizers will step in and they will give their time and their expertise to move you along quicker. What I found as a professional organizer is that not all, but most professional organizers don't have a good paper system like we do. And so Organize 365 does not do in-home organizing anymore, but we license professional organizers with our systems and our methodology. And they either will organize the paperwork for you. They have in-person workshops. So if it's your mom and you want to go in and get her paperwork organized, you can come to a physical or an online workshop with the paperwork and do it with a professional organizer. And when the pandemic ends, we'll be back to doing these all weekend long in hotels like we did before the pandemic, where you just bring literally all the paperwork, get it all organized into binders and out the door in one weekend with a professional organizer on site who can answer those questions for you.
Great.
So the next question popped up: suggestions on secure disposal of the paper with confidential information once they've emptied out the file cabinets. Shredding at home takes so long.
So long. Yeah, so at our paper organizing retreats, we bring in Shred It, and they will shred it on site for you, which is one of the awesome things. But any office supply store will have like a locked cage that they'll put your recycling in, and they just charge you, I think it's $1 a pound. So a banker's box is going to be like 20 bucks. And so if you take in 4 banker's boxes, you give them $80, and they will dump that paper into this locked bin. And then a shredding company will come to Staples or Home Depot or any of those, and they literally unlock it from the top and dump it into the shredder on site. You also will find, especially coming up here soon, because it's tax time, a lot of credit unions or lawyers, they will have on-site shredding days where you can like drive up with your car full of stuff and watch it be shredded on site. So you could find those things as well.
Now, one exciting thing about our audience here is I probably say that half of them are senior serving professionals, many who work with retirement communities. And one of the events that the senior living communities have discovered is a great way to support the community is doing shredding events. And so, great opportunity if anybody who's on board right now has a shredding event come up, drop it into chat. And also we can post those events at proaging.com as well. But I'm seeing a lot of outside of the typical government shred events where private industry is realizing, hey, this is a great way to get somebody to my business, especially in COVID-19 times.
Yeah, those like Staples, they will also destroy hard drives for you. Like if you have computers you take in, and what they do is they drill 3 holes in them. So just like do some research, call ahead, find a good resource for yourself and then all of your clients, and then just share that.
Great. We're getting close to the top of the hour, and I'm going to try to say this early on, because whenever I say, okay, we're wrapping up and we're not taking any questions, then just what happened, a question pops up. So, Tom, you want to do?
Yeah. Can Lisa offer any advice where she has had to do her own organizing in a pack rat situation? We've been asked to help clients organize paperwork for a move, specifically helping to locate financial information and critical documents to get much needed estate planning done. We've been forwarded photos of the client's living situation, and there are boxes of paperwork everywhere. It's not a hoarding situation, but there's barely a surface to work on.
It's not a hoarding.
Yeah, the hardest part about this is the bill that you are going to give them for having done that service. And they're going to be like, oh, it's just a few boxes. Like, no, it was like 50 boxes. And we had to look at every single receipt and and that's faded, and it's a huge job. So when I did this and I started training professional organizers in paper, I was like, all right, people need a benchmark. Like, I can sort a banker's box of paper super fast because I'm a jigsaw puzzle doer and I'm a scrapbooker and paper is my life. But everybody else will get a banker's box of paper and it could take them a day to sort that because they're just not used to where's the important information on this. Like, I can sort financial statements and never know what the balance of the accounts are because I know everywhere to look for what I need that isn't the amount that's in the account. But not everybody knows that. And so this is a secret that I told my professional organizers. We're just going to do a blanket $250 per banker's box, period. That way, if you've got somebody that's super fast at organizing paper, they're earning a higher dollar per hour. If you've got someone that's brand new to sorting paper, it's going to take them longer, but the client has an idea how much it's going to cost. So if it is 50 banker's boxes, what's 50 times 2? It's like $12,500 to do that paper job. And I'm sure it's even more than that. And that is legitimately what I would charge. And they have no idea that's what it's going to cost. And you need to just say, decide what your price is going to be. Is it $100 a box? I'm just going to tell you, you're going to be, and just know, on average, a new person who's not used to organizing paper like I am, it will take them at least 5 hours to get through each banker's box. Like, I can get through a banker's box of paper in 2 hours, but I have yet to meet anyone else that can do that. Because when you get in there, like, it can literally be all little receipts, and you've got to sort it all. I had a 10,000 square foot house. The entire finished basement had stacks of paper. You couldn't even walk, had stacks of paper from like 1 or 2 things all the way to like stacks this high on every square inch of the floor. It took us an entire summer to do it. There were 40 file drawers. There were multiple closets the entire summer. Like, I learned so much, and that person paid so much money, and she had no idea that's what it would cost. So really just be upfront and say, this is going to cost a lot of money. When we would organize people's houses, $5,000 to do the house, $5,000 to do the paper. And they're like, holy cow, why is it going to cost that much to do the paper? That's how much it costs. I don't know what to tell you.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the charging, because that was an aging life care manager that was asking that question. And, you know, so frequently these types of services that we're offering as providers are things that sons and daughters are supposed to do, yep. You know, and there's no check that's written for your son and daughter to do that, even if it took them 3 weeks to do it. And so I'm glad you brought this up. It could be a topic for an entire discussion.
Steve, that's the whole reason we have paper organizing workshops, because I was the daughter. Like, I was the daughter who had to do that when I was running a professional organization business. And so our company really is not there to support the aging population. Our company is there to support the sandwich generation that is trying to have meaningful time with their parents while having their own life and trying not to get stuck in these things. So for them, yeah, it's a whole weekend to bring all the boxes and do it, but they get to meet new people. They get to have fun food. They get to have music. They get to be in community. Everything gets shredded. It's done. Nobody's also expecting them to make dinner and take care of the kids and do things on the weekend because they're gone. Like, we've set it up to support the Gen Xers and the young baby boomers who are taking care of the aging population.
That's great. Let's see, we got that. What's probably going to be one of our last questions there, Tom. You want to take that one?
Is that, when is your next event, weekend event?
Oh, no, the one about paper being heavy.
Thank you, this is so helpful. Paper is heavy and weight increases as the volume of paper multiplies. These systems and ideas are great. We need files on wheels, easier to transport and carry around. Can you suggest some form of wheels where your 3 systems will fit so the files can be on wheels? Thank you.
So we're going to have you get rid of your files entirely. And I've done this in so many houses where they don't even have filing cabinets anymore. So once you have a binder like this, we sell a bag that will perfectly hold our slash pockets, and then also will hold a binder in it and makes it all portable. We never put it on wheels. We don't think you're going to get to that point. And for people who are asking about these paper organizing retreats, like, I don't do them, but we have almost 100 certified organizers that do, and we have 12 weekend virtual events on our events page. So if you go to organize365.com and click on events, those are certified organizers that are doing these Zoom weekend events that you can attend.
Great, and I'm dropping that into that question as well as into chat, that link, and in our follow-up we'll send out these links as well. Let's see,
this last one comes up. Steve, you are amazing.
Oh, geez,
someone's got to read
this
that,
is
right?
the amazing one here.
No, you.
That's right.
Okay,
Thank you for adding a special part of the information. Family things. that happen in families, and we love our families.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think one of these, you know, as Deb's sort of talking about the challenges with this one client, it's so easy to get bitter and, you know, upset when you're sort of thrown into a family situation where things might not be that organized, but it's really important to back off and reflect on what's important, and family is family. And this is another great reason to hire a senior move manager, yep, to hire somebody that is familiar with the 365 organized 365 platform, a professional organizer. Like, you don't need to walk this road alone. You can get help out there. And well, this has been great, Lisa. You're such a resource, and a little commercial, because the thing that fascinates me about your business and your community is you have, my wife tunes in every Sunday to this, I don't know what it is. It's like a webinar, and they have this Sunday basket. You know, it's one thing to buy a book and it's to sort of learn your system, which I think we all understand is really effective. But the fact that you can join a community of thousands of other people that are going through the same thing, maybe speak to that a little bit.
So I mentioned a couple of times I was a stay-at-home mom. I've always earned income here and there. But as a female head of household, we're so isolated. We're so alone. We're so overwhelmed. And there's so much pressure, specifically on women, to be organized and have it together and know where your paper is. And when we miss any one thing, we hold ourselves to such high standards that if we miss one birthday party or one bill, or we're asked for a piece of paper and we can't find it, we're like, throw in the towel. Like, I don't even know why I'm allowed to breathe air. Like, we're so hard on ourselves. It's ridiculous. And we have so much going on, and we're fabulous. We're amazing. And so when I was creating this company 10 years ago, I thought, what are the things that I don't like about how I marketed to? And what I don't like is everything always has a deadline, and everything's only available for a certain amount of time, and everything has an upsell. And if you buy it during this time, it's a sale, but then you miss the sale. And so I don't have sales, and I don't have deadlines, and every single thing that I sell is a lifetime membership. So when you buy this little $97 box that organizes your kitchen filing cabinet, for a lifetime, you're in a Facebook group where we have a professional organizer for 90 minutes every single Sunday, go through your Sunday basket with you in a group. So if you need motivation, encouragement, a deadline, accountability, it is built into the $97 product. And people say, you're never going to make money with this. And I'm like, well, I sell a lot of baskets, and it's not about making money. It's about making lives easier. It's about establishing organization as something that you go and do and is fun in a community, not something that you buy and do and it sits on a shelf. It's a habit that you learn. It's a learnable skill that is learned slowly over time, like going to the gym, only we don't have a recurring membership model.
Yeah, no, I love it. And just somebody asked, so what happens on Sunday? What is the Sunday basket? I'm sorry I opened this can of worms,
I know.
but I think it's fascinating.
So the Sunday basket is what I created 20 years ago when I had 2 kids under the age of 2, and I had a stack of paper pile on the end of my kitchen counter, and my bills were being paid late because I just I couldn't get ahead of my mail and my to-dos. And I was drowning in reactivity and not proactivity. And so I created this simple basket where you put your mail, you put your actionable to-dos, even things that like batteries that needed new toys that needed new batteries, anything that was brought to me Monday through Friday that could wait until Sunday had to wait until Sunday. And I started to stop reacting in my life and proactively delaying decision-making until Sunday. And then on Sunday, I would take 90 minutes to 2 hours. I go through all the mail. I would change all the batteries. I would order all the things on Amazon. Back then, you couldn't do that, but you get the idea. I would clip all the coupons. I would do all the meal planning, and I would do my household responsibility tasks on Sunday while Greg had the kids at that time. And then Monday through Friday, my week went so much easier because I had picked out what I was going to do from that basket. The other thing that the basket holds that I didn't have any solution for before this is all of my projects that are in process, but not on my to-do list this week, are ideas that I wanted to do in the future that I didn't have a place to keep them. We didn't have Pinterest then. And I don't understand Pinterest. So this is my version of Pinterest.
Great. Excellent. Well, now we really are at the top of the hour. I thank you for your time. Tom, what do you think? Another good discussion, huh?
Very, very good. Great hour. Well spent. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, Adele. Thank you, Mita, and everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, thank you to JK Moving for your support on these discussions, and we look forward to another one next month. But Lisa, I will share all your contact information, and I can tell by the chat you got more fans in your fan club, that's for sure. So you're doing great things. And
thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, everybody.